The library stretched endlessly in both directions, a forest of oak shelves, sagging under the weight of grimoires, scrolls and tomes bound in the hides of forgotten creatures. No candle lit the way, and yet the shadows themselves seemed alive, gliding across the ancient stone floor. It was said that within these shelves rested the written memory of the world, not just of kingdoms and empires, but of curses, bargains and gods long abandoned. Few dared to enter this place, for it was guarded by the Black Archivist. Her skin was the color of midnight oil, her eyes glowing like coals in the dark. A crown of silver thorns rested upon her brow, though it gleamed faintly only when she moved, as though reluctant to acknowledge her sovereignty. Her long braids fell like serpents over her shoulders, and her robes, stitched with symbols of roots and wings, whispered secrets with every step she took. On her arm perched an owl with feathers black as tar, its crimson eyes twin reflections of her own. In her other hand she held a staff, twisted and gnarled, the wood older than the kingdom of men itself. She was not queen, nor priestess, nor sorceress. She was custodian. She was judge. She was the one who remembered when the world wished to forget. And tonight she was not alone. The boy who entered the stacks. Alaric had been warned since childhood never to seek the hidden library. Old women in the village muttered that it was cursed. The priests claimed it was blasphemous. Even thieves whispered that no treasure could be worth the price. Yet when his sister fell ill, stricken by a wasting sickness no healer could name, Alaric had turned to the stories of the library's hidden cures. It had taken him weeks of searching, questioning smugglers, bribing hermits, nearly being killed by bandits in the marshlands, before he found the doorway. It was carved into the roots of an oak so vast its trunk seemed like a wall, and when he pushed open the door of worm-eaten wood, he stepped into a hall that should not have existed. The library breathed. Dust spiraled like ash in the air. The shelves groaned as though the books longed to be read. Somewhere in the endless dark, something moved. Alaric's torch sputtered. Then, before him, she appeared. The archivist. Her eyes pierced him like spears of fire, and the owl's gaze made his blood run cold. He had heard stories, but none prepared him for the reality. She was no woman of flesh and bone. She was an embodiment of shadow and memory, something born from the silence of the ages. "You seek knowledge," she said, her voice echoing like the turn of pages in a cavern. Alaric's mouth went dry. He bowed clumsily, dropping to one knee. "My sister, lady. She is dying. They say your library holds remedies beyond mortal craft." The owl blinked slowly, its claws flexing. The archivist tilted her head. "All remedies have costs." "Do you know the price of knowledge, boy?" Alaric swallowed. "Anything." Her lips curled into something not quite a smile, not quite cruelty. "We shall see." The walk through shadows. The archivist turned, her robes flowing like smoke, and began to walk. Alaric stumbled after her, his torchlight paling beside her aura. They passed shelves bound with chains, scrolls dripping ink as though the words themselves bled, and tablets cracked with fire. Whispered voices rose from the bindings, tempting, pleading, cursing. The deeper they went, the colder it became. Alaric's breath fogged in the air. He hugged his arms against his chest, but the archivist moved as though untouched by cold or fear. At last, she stopped before a single pedestal. Upon it rested a book bound in leather so black it seemed to swallow all light. A sigil was burned into the cover, a circle of thorns entwined with a serpent biting its tail. "This," she said, "is the Codex of Silent Roots. It contains what you seek. The cure for the wasting sickness lies within." Alaric reached out, trembling. "Wait!" Her staff struck the floor, and the sound reverberated like thunder. Alaric froze. To take from this book is to bind yourself to its words. It does not give freely. What it offers in salvation, it demands in sacrifice. Alaric hesitated, but the thought of his sister's hollow eyes, her trembling hands, gave him strength. "I told you. I'll pay any price." The archivist's burning gaze lingered on him. "Then read." The bargain. Alaric opened the book. The pages were blank. He thought it a trick, but then words began to bloom across the parchment like vines, twisting into sentences he somehow understood, though they were written in no tongue he knew. It spoke of the wasting sickness, how it was born from a seed planted by forgotten gods, a curse of hunger that devoured the spirit before the body. It spoke of the cure, a ritual of blood and shadow, to root the sickness out and replace it with vitality. But the price was clear. To heal another, the words declared, one must surrender memory, a life for a life, a mind for a body. Alaric felt his stomach twist. What does it mean? The archivist's voice was quiet yet merciless. You will forget her. Your sister will live, but in your eyes she will be a stranger. Her name, her face, her laughter, you will lose them all. She will be healed, but you will no longer remember why you saved her. Alaric's hands trembled upon the page. Choose, she said. The owl blinked once as if in mockery, and then the archivist lifted her staff. Shadows coiled up from the ground, wrapping around him like roots. He tried to cry out, but his voice was swallowed by the dark. In his mind, memories flared one by one. A little girl laughing as she chased fireflies, a voice singing by the hearth, a hand clutching his during a storm. One by one they dimmed, flickered, and were snuffed out. When the shadows released him, he collapsed to the floor. The archivist closed the book with a sound like a coffin sealing shut. It is done, she said. The forgotten savior Alaric staggered to his feet, dazed. His eyes met the archivist's, but her expression gave no comfort. Something inside him felt missing, an emptiness, like a hollow well. You will return home, she said, and you will find peace in ignorance. That is the mercy of the trade. He nodded numbly, though he no longer remembered what he had asked for, or why he had come. The owl hooted softly, its eyes glowing in the dark. The archivist turned back into the endless stacks, her robes brushing the stone floor like whispers. She had walked these halls since the first words were carved into clay, and she would walk them until the last book turned to dust. She was the keeper of bargains, the sentinel of sacrifice, the black archivist. And though none who left her library remembered her face, her name, or the bargains they struck, she remembered them all. That was her burden, and her curse. Thank you for watching.